Welcome back, everyone. It is time to begin our journey through Ending B, Kaines story. Let's get it.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind
Oh,
has been
this
confusing
is
her
like
with my
halfway through the
sister
game.
this whole time. Anyway,
Well, that's cool. Kaines dreams. The sound of rain. Man, these again? The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke streamed from huts as the villagers huddled in their homes and waited out the rain. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly toward the wooden, hawk-shaped weather vane at the center of town. The wanderer reached the vane, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck. These traits combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I. The child blinked. Rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on, come on. Um, the child felt a slight breeze and watched as the veins slowly creaked to life. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly toward the east. East? Really? Before the vane could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kaine! The voice belonged to Daimo, worst of all the bullies in the Eyrie. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut above her knee and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Daimo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken back for a moment by Kaine's seeming indifference of the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to the sensation, and it was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of the children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated, and if possible, destroyed. I didn't say you could leave, freak. Daimo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me. She lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me, he can't hurt me, he can't hurt. Oh look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kaine prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they choose to ignore her. As Daimo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless, a failure. I wish Daimo's rock had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Daimo's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upward. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelids to pry it open. Show me. No. Did you just say no? Daimo grinned. What does it say? Evilly? You don't get to say no to me. No one says no to me. Not even taking his attention from Kaine, he called to his cohorts. Come on, guys, let's give the freak what she deserves. As soon as Daimo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. Daimo paused, still grinning, as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Kaine ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east, as it supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Freak, chanted the children. Freak, freak, freak. Kaine closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of rain, letting it become her world entirely. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kaine was shocked to see Daimo sprawl on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasily shuffle away from Kaine. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was wrapped on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. Hurts like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one, and if any of you little bastards ever touch my Kaine again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on it. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand Daimo was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. Ow, he screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop, what are you doing? Quit whining, ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch. A big one. That thing could have killed me. Old woman shrugged. Death is the best cure for stupid. Daimo's face twisted with rage with her words. Locked his eyes on Kaine, he took a step backward and spat on the ground. Get out, leave this village. No one wants you here, either of you. Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Daimo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. Ha, look at the fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she removed her shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulders. Then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. Oh, Kaine, she said, why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot. The words of her grandmother stung Kaine as she turned away. Don't be nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears, held in check for so long, finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kaine's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? What? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine. You know because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother. But when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first few years together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking on her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't. Hush, interrupted Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you. And if folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable. And the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Is that the wreath of flowers we saw in the hut? The white flowers that was hanging up on the wall? Is that what that is? Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears. Yep, those are. Because I think there was even a reference to that these are all lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears are legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find all these? Just stumbled upon them while I was out doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she spoke, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in the construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said her grandmother, and as she squinted at it. I'm losing breath. These old hands have trouble with the delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandma smiled. We're gonna be fine, you and me, as she said. As long as we got each other, we'll be just fine. Kaine took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them shrugged to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kaine gripped the hand with all her might as she's trying to stop smoke from drifting away in the wind. The rain has stopped. Kaine stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me and that's enough, even if it's us against the world. Kaine let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. As she turned and headed for home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away by the breeze. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, more? Okay. I'm not reading all this. My head's starting to hurt. So I am going to just breeze through this very quickly. And if you guys want to read it, then feel free to pause the video. Like once everything is out, and then read it yourself. But I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna fucking scan it. Well, that's sad. That's fun. Another one. Continue. God. Oh no.
The beast approaches.
Oh, I know.
Okay, well, since we are at 33 minutes, I'm going to end the episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed that novel, right? This entire episode was nothing but reading. It made my head hurt. So I will catch you guys in the next one.